All right, all right, all right. Welcome, everybody. We are back for another great winter webinar, and we've got a fun one in store today because I know we've got a lot of leaders and brokers and owners and team leaders, or those aspiring to be leaders, on with us. And I'm excited to have a great conversation with my former mentor and now leader in our organization, Kathy Schweitzer, which we'll get to that in just a second. But before we do, I want to know, where are you all joining us from today? Go ahead and let's see it down in the chat. Arkansas is in the house. Who else is with us today? City and state, please. Let's see where everyone's coming from. Minneapolis, it's cold there too. Northern Michigan, it gets colder, that's for sure. Florida in the house. Texas, love seeing everyone. Canada, Toronto, I love it. Cincinnati, all right. Virginia, Sioux Falls, perfect. Great to see everyone joining us from all over North America. We're happy to have you with us today. And this particular session is an important one because as the market has shifted a bit, and I know a lot of people are probably tired of even hearing that word, our value proposition to agents has changed, not just because of the market though. And see, here's what's interesting about today's topic. The industry has really been the one that shifted no matter what's going on in the market. So I want to be loud and clear because I know a lot of you guys, especially in the South, Florida, Texas, your market hasn't shifted as much as some of the other markets around North America have. And when we talk about, agent attraction in a shifting market, please understand we're not just referring to the actual market of buyers and sellers and listings and so forth. We're talking about the market of brokerages and teams and the industry, because I don't care what's going on in the market. What I do know is that the industry has changed regardless. And so we're going to be spending some time talking about what has changed and how it is impacting teams across the country, how it's impacting brokerages across the country. And our hope is by the time we're done here at about 15 minutes past the top of the hour, you'll have everything you need to know and do to go back and reevaluate your current value proposition, take some of those ideas and improve it. So that way you can have a year of growth in 2023, because I know in 2022, a lot of the brokers, a lot of the teams that I talked to, they had a year of staleness. Now, there were some, of course, that had some increases, and a lot of those were our clients. And of course, we appreciate seeing them win, but there was a lot of people that were just kind of flat in 2022. Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot that we've changed internally in our value proposition, and we're going to share as much of it as we can during this 75-minute session. So before we dig in, a couple of quick things. For those that are not familiar, my name is Jeff Glover. I'm from right here in Detroit, Michigan. I've been listing and selling real estate now. This May will be my 21st year. I've been working in leadership capacity actually since 2005, when I was actually hired by Kathy to run one of her offices. And so I've seen the value propositions of brokerages evolve. And then, of course, I've seen our own value proposition from our team. I'm still on the ground listing and selling personally about 75, 85 homes per year. Our real estate team of about 40 salespeople, 45 salespeople, closed just under 1,000 transactions last year, 982 to be exact. And our brokerages, I've got brokerages of just over 600 agents. So I know what has gone on with the industry shift, and am very familiar with changes that we've had to make our team and our brokerage more attractive, and also recruit and use our value proposition as a recruiting tool. So hopefully you're on for that reason today, because we're going to spend a lot of time talking about that. Also, if you're not familiar with Glover U, we are a broker agnostic training and coaching company for agents, brokers, owners, team leaders, and rainmakers all over North America, the US and Canada. And of course, we put on great events and have some great coaching programs, at least we think that. Before we dig into today's content, because I know we always have a lot of first timers on, I want to make sure I get you some resources that are our hottest resources right now. And because this is a leadership one, I'm actually going to share them in a way that you can use these to add value to your real estate salespeople. So the first one is something that is still selling online right now for $50, and I'm going to give it to you all for free. In fact, I'm going to allow you to share it with all of your agents on your team or in your brokerage for free as well. So I want everyone to write down gloveru.com/plan, gloveru.com/plan. And next to that, I want you to write the code winter webinar, all one word, winter webinar, gloveru.com/plan. Whether you want to believe it or not, you have agents in your brokerages, you have agents on your team that either A, lost their business plan, B, know where their business plan is, but they haven't seen it since October or November, or C, never completed one. I know you don't want to hear that. I know it's hard to admit, but the reality is we know there's a lot of agents out there that haven't even gotten to work on their plan yet, or haven't even started executing on their plan. So I'm giving you ours for free. It's the exact same one that we use with our agents. It's the exact same one that I use personally in my production. And that is the 2023 business plan. Feel free to share that with your agents. Do whatever you want with that. That's gloveru.com/plan. The code is winter webinar. They just threw that in the chat for you. That's one of my gifts to you. Another gift to you is our Unreal Life magazine. We produce now about 60,000 copies of these. It's all real estate sales, business, marketing, scripts, dialogues. It's all just for real estate salespeople. 60,000 of these go out to agents and brokers and owners like yourself across North America. I'm happy to send you one. I'm happy to send you dozens. You can sign up all your agents for it. It doesn't matter because it doesn't cost you anything. The postage is on me, as well as the print. How to get your hands on this? It's super simple. I'll share with you how to do that. Go ahead and take out your cell phones. You're going to want to probably do this anyways if you're not already in there, and open up your Facebook app. In the top right-hand corner, there's a little magnifying glass. That's a little search function. And you're going to search Glover space, the letter U space, inner circle. Again, if you're already in here, write this down anyways, because this is something you can share with your agents. You can sign up all your agents if you want. It doesn't matter. It's on us. Glover U Inner Circle is a Facebook group. It should come up right away. And it's going to ask you if you'd like to subscribe. It should look like that. It's going to ask you if you'd like to subscribe to our quarterly publication. That's what this is. So don't put your email address in there, because as you can see, it's physical. So it's going to end up in your mailbox. We'll send it to your house, to your office, wherever you want it sent. Again, you want your agents to sign up for this. I'm going to give you a way to do that as well. For those of you that are not in the inner circle, go ahead and take advantage of that. If you want to sign your agents up for this, you want us to send you 50 copies, 500 copies, whatever, we'll do it. Go to gloveru.com/mag, GLOVER, the letter U.com/mag. It's right there in the chat. That's how you can get your agent signed up. The postage, the printing is all on me. You can be the hero and say, hey guys, I got us all signed up. I paid for this great subscription, until they hear later that it's free. So maybe don't use that one. Okay. Last but certainly not least, I would say this is probably our hottest free resource, and that is the daily text message. Every day, Monday through Friday, I am writing a message specifically relating to succeeding in real estate right now. Sometimes the message, because I'm in the field with you and your people, sometimes the message is, hey, I went on an appointment last night. Here's the objection the seller gave me. Here's how I handled it. And oh, by the way, here's a copy of the contract I got signed. Other times, like right now, I'm jumping into a mindset series, because one of my concerns for the industry, and I know Kathy would agree with this, is our agents today, the majority of them have not seen a normal market. They haven't seen a softer market. And so they haven't had to deal with the emotions and the drama and the negativity of a normal market, right? And I'm not saying that like a real estate transaction is always negative, but we know there's buyer's emotions or seller's emotions. In the last market, we didn't have to think about that. In the last market, buyers bought because it was, do you want the house or not? And sellers sold because they saw the number at the bottom line. So there was no emotion, there was no drama. Well, now focusing on having a strong mindset is actually something we have to talk about it again. And I'll tell you, Kathy, and I think you won't be surprised by this either, all of the feedback that we got from our summit, because we did a segment, like a 90-minute segment on how to have a stronger mindset, almost 100% of the feedback that we got said, so glad you did a talk on that. It's so timely right now. Anyways, I'm sending those out through the daily text message. My recommendation is, if you're not signed up, get signed up. You can take the messages that I share and repurpose them, use them in your sales meetings, use them in your daily emails to your team, whatever you want, or you can sign up your entire team or your entire brokerage. It's free. So here's how you sign up if you're not currently signed up. If you are signed up, but you need to know how to sign up your agents, you'll want to do this too. The phone number, so you're going to take out your cell phones again, and just like you were texting a new phone number, the phone number is 55444. And in the body of the message, you're going to type morning, just like that. Sending the word morning to 55444. If you're already signed up and receiving those, write that down. It's there in the chat. That's how you're going to get your agent signed up for the daily text. We don't do any spam through there. I'm not, sending out, oh, got to go sign up for this. Oh, got to do this, got to do that. Now, I'll send like free webinars we're doing, of course, but the daily text is probably our hottest resource, and I encourage you to take advantage of that. Use it with your agents. Yeah, I want to see it. You're on it already. If you're already on the daily text, let's see that down in the chat. I want to see who's getting those, and are those helpful? Are you using them with your agents? Are they helping you with your mindset? I want to see my daily text subscribers. There we go. We've got them coming in. Also, when you guys are chatting with us today, make sure you change your chat settings to everyone, because a lot of you are sending the message to hosts and panelists, and that's great. We love to see that, but we also want your peers to see you commenting as well. So make sure you change your messaging when you're chatting to everyone. Awesome. Good to see everybody. And oh yes, if you're in Canada, great. Taylor is behind the scenes running the webinar. I'm going to have her throw that in the chat. So if you're in Canada, we're going to give you the instructions for how to do that in the chat. You're just going to email us and she'll throw that in the chat. So for our Canadian friends, we'll get you set up with that. Okay, let's shift gears. Those are the resources. Hopefully you have them. Actually, there's one more thing I want to share. I'm sorry. And it's not a free resource, so it doesn't fall under this category. And it's different for this particular webinar. Everyone should have a copy of the workbook for today's session. There's some good information in here, including other resources I didn't mention. Like, for instance, wouldn't it be nice if you could hand your associates a social media guide? We got that. It's free. All right. All of those are in here. So make sure you download the workbook and print this off. There's a ton more resources in here that I didn't even get to because I don't want to take up any more time, because we got a lot of important things to talk about. Also in this workbook on page 6, this is the last thing I want to point out. And if you don't have the workbook, just write this down. On page 6 in the workbook, okay, we have not publicly announced it. It's on our website, but we haven't been talking about it a lot because we've really been focused on these webinars. We have our lead up event coming up in May 1st through the 3rd in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Not everyone gets into this. There's actually an application process. You'll see it when you go to the website. We do that so we can keep the conversations high, the discussions a high level. And this is all only for leaders. You have to own a brokerage. You have to run a team. You have to be in leadership. This is only for leaders. If you don't have the workbook, this is on page 6 of the workbook. If you don't have the workbook, you can check out what I'm talking about. Last year, it sold out in like a month. We haven't even started promoting it yet, so I know it's going to sell out again. gloveru.com/leadup. There it is in the chat. gloveru.com/leadup. If you don't have the workbook, check that out. If you're looking to grow a brokerage, if you're looking to grow a team, I suggest you get there. Not everyone's going to be let in, and we do that for good reason, because we want to keep the conversation high level. Okay, it's time for the main event. We're talking agent attraction in a shifting market. So one of the things that I think is really fascinating in the way we've grown our brokerages, and I know that Kathy agrees with this because of her experience, is wouldn't it be nice if, in addition to your recruiting calls, in addition to the traditional methods that you use to bring agents into your team and into your brokerage, wouldn't it be nice if you did some things as part of your value proposition that caused them to reach out to you? Now, it's certainly more than just sitting and waiting for the phone to ring. You got to go find them. Yes. But what if you actually became the strongest value proposition in your market to where people were lining up to join your firm? Honestly, what would that look like? And so I'm here with Kathy Schweitzer, who, for those that aren't aware, Kathy, if you could take us back to just give us a little bit about your background so people know who you are, and we'll share a little bit of the work that we did before we get into content.
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it. So excited to be with everyone here today, of course. It's such an important topic, especially in a shifting market. So I'm excited to be with Jeff, working on this with you and helping you and helping you get to the next level when it comes to your value prop. So I started in the business 150 years ago. Oh, no. I started in the business about 35 years ago. And my husband had a great real estate company at that time. It was family owned. And because it was family owned, I wore every hat. I sold for many years, and then I managed offices, and I ended up operations on the operations side. And I spent a lot of time also at that time leading people, getting to know people like Jeff, hiring Jeff, right? And so a big part of it was sales, operations, and then my passion is coaching and helping people get to the next level with coaching. And I also spent 10 years in a wonderful company out east in the Boston area recruiting for 10 years in the field, in the ground, sharing the value proposition of that where I worked then to get people to come over. And now I'm excited to share, you know, Jeff's value proposition and work with our team there at JGA to actually get people on board and be in the field with it. So that's kind of sums it up quickly.
I think it's pretty cool that not only were you in the field in your other organizations, but you were also coaching for a well-known organization, the Mike Ferry company, which, you know, you and I both owe a lot and respect Mike a lot. You were the go-to when they had a team leader, when they had a broker, when they had an owner of a large organization. You were the go-to coach for a lot of the leaders in that organization because you were in the field, you were doing it. And now what I love so much about getting the opportunity to work together is you're in the field with me, right? So you're leading the team leaders. You're leading the salespeople and the sales managers. And you know, it's amazing how full circle life is, and it's really cool to be working alongside of you in this capacity. And now everyone in the Glover U world gets to benefit from our relationship. So why don't we jump in? Let's talk a little bit about value propositions to attract agents. I'll let you take it away.
Okay, good. So I appreciate that, Jeff. So it's interesting. Jeff and I were talking about this, and I wrote down several notes, right, about it. And I took a lot of time to really think about, you know, the agent attraction and what that means. And so I always am going to write some questions for you to think about to the audience. All right. And obviously, Jeff, you jump in here anytime. So we have to be thinking about, as Jeff alluded to, that the market is shifting. And it already shifted. So what can I say? So the key is what are agents looking for, right? And the other thing is you have to be thinking about what are they looking for and are they fearful? So I'm not necessarily referring to your agents, but you better take, you know, look at them. But there's fear out there, right? And when there's fear of your competition and the agents out there, what do they look for? They look for strength. They look for someone that's going to remove that fear from them because of the value that they're offering them. So their needs are changing and we have to fulfill the needs. As Jeff alluded to earlier, like I said, La La Land is over. 21 and 20 is over. And that was La La Land. And so many people that got in the business at that time are either leaving or they're going to be out looking for someone that can provide value. Yep. So the bottom line is they need your strength and they need the strength of a good leader. Would you agree with that?
I would. And then the next question, and something that everyone should write down, is how can I display my strength as a leader? How can I market my strength as a leader? How can I show that I've got that strength as a leader? Those are all thoughts that you should be thinking about and writing out answers to as we go through this. How can you display your strength as a leader of someone who, whether you've been through this or not, because watch, Kathy, there's a lot of people on who are leaders of organizations and they've never seen any market different than this. So it might be hard for them to think about, well, how do I display the strength if I've never been through this before, right? So, sorry, go ahead.
No, I love it. That's what we're here for, right? And so there is no, how can you display your strength? Hopefully we're going to help demystify that, right? Yeah. And get to the point of what agents are actually looking for in a leader, you know, what values are they looking for and how we can help you strengthen your value proposition with it. So Jeff, what I've seen with Jeff in the short time that we've been together, like 2 weeks, is I've taken the time to do a deep dive in getting to know the people that work for him, right, which are tremendous, and then taking the time to look at his value proposition. And what Jeff has done a great job with, and I'm sure many of you are starting or you're here today, is looking at what we offer and what do we have to change of our value proposition? What do we have to change to meet the needs of the agents today, not 5 years ago, even though there's a few fundamentals that we're going to talk about. So the other question I want you to write down is, if you were an agent yourself today, the audience, what would you be looking for in a culture, from a leadership, a team, a company. What would you look for? I want you to write that down. And then there's a couple more questions I want you to write down. So as you can see, I come from a school where we ask a lot of questions. We get people to write questions, because to come up with a value proposition is not like, oh, let me just, think about something, I'll write it down and that's what it is. Now, it does have to come from the heart, and your culture has to come from that, but you have to take some time to think about it. So the questions are, am I attracting talented agents? So I want you to ask yourself, am I attracting? So the name of this is agent attraction. So to Jeff's point earlier, he talked about, what are we doing? Where is your strength? You have to identify it. So this takes a little time. Would you agree, Jeff, to think about the questions, spend time with the questions?
Yeah, and also thinking about who do I have to become to attract, to deserve to attract talent, right? Because Kathy, you know this, so many teams today are formed based on, well, you seem to be selling a lot of homes, so let me come learn from you, or a brokerage that, is kind of just, hey, this is exciting, everyone's joining. Well, who are you actually attracting, and are you attracting the people that you want to spend time with each and every day? Or are you just attracting bodies? Like so many brokerages and teams today were formed by just attracting bodies. Well, I would look at, who do I have to become to deserve to attract talent? What traits, what characteristics, what do I have to offer? I mean, you have to look at that. And honestly, one of the things I love about that kind of correlation is, in my notebook, I don't have it with me today, but I wrote down, need to bring Kathy Schweitzer into our organization. This was like 8 years ago. And I didn't even see the sentence I wrote above that is, who do I have to become in order to attract talent into my world? And then I wrote your name right below that, right? So that's, everyone should be writing that question down.
Always makes me laugh. Anyway, so I love the question, though. The question, who do I have to become to attract the talent? That's an awesome question. So am I attracting talented agents? Who do I have to become to attract the talented agents? And then I also wrote down, why would someone want to work for me, my brokerage, or my team? Why? So you've got to flip the switch and say, well, why would I want to work for me? Right? So you have to look at that. And again, it's not just me, but it's the company or the team. But you have to spend time looking at this. And then the other thing that I wrote down for questions is, what do I need to change to have the strongest value proposition in my market? So what do I need to change? And again, with the value proposition in this subject, you don't want to overanalyze it, but you can't just spend like a minute with it. It takes time to identify. So we're going to guide you through that. So I was taught from one of my mentors is definition. So this might sound funny to you guys, but I'm going to throw it out. So I went, of course, to the old-fashioned Webster's dictionary. I pulled it off the shelf. No, I didn't. I looked on the internet. I'm just kidding. I dusted off no, just kidding. Okay. Value proposition definition: services to make a company attractive to its customers. Services that make a company, team, whatever, attractive to the customer. So in this situation, the customers are the agents, right, Jeff, as well as the public.
Well, yes, and that in itself is a takeaway that I hope several people on this session get. And when we first started our team, we looked at the buyers and sellers as the customer. Yeah. Today, we look at the agents as the first customer, the buyers and sellers as the second. So everything we do is focused around improving the agent's experience, improving the agent's life. And by doing so, the buyers and sellers will have a better experience with the company.
In your value prop, that's very clear, because if their experience is positive, their experience is productive, if they walk in every day and they feel good, then that's going to go, the client's going to feel the same way. So I love that. Makes complete sense. Yep. And then the other definition I like too, the full mix of benefits or economic value, which will improve the lives of others. So it's the full mix of benefits or economic value. So the other way to ask yourself is, what benefits do I have that are benefiting the agents that work for me? Okay, so I like that thought of just boiling it down to the basics of what is the definition? What does it mean?
Yep, yep.
Okay. So when it comes to our value proposition, as of Jeff and myself and the whole team, there's some fundamentals that Jeff and I have talked about that we believe will never change. Okay. So there's fundamentals of a value proposition that will not change. So we have to spend a few minutes doing that. And it's a meaty subject. And then we'll get into, what has Jeff changed in his value proposition to attract agents and keep the agents he has in a shifting market. So are you cool with that, Jeff?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So here are some fundamentals about value proposition, right? What are the top 5 things that agents look for in a leader or a company? So Jeff, I want you to jump obviously in like you would anyway, with, some ideas or thoughts about this, because you and I have talked about it. It's really important. So what are the top things that agents look for in a broker or team leader? What values are they looking for that will never go away?
Yeah.
Even if the market's shifting. So obviously when market's shifting and things are changing, we have to pay attention to new things. But number 1 I wrote down is what we've been talking about this whole time is strong leadership.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. And so when we're talking about value propositions, you got to understand that a big piece of the value is a strong leader. That's a huge piece. And so when I wrote this down, and again, I look at my notes because I like to, but here's what I wrote down. Strong leadership, someone who's inspirational, authentic, caring, been in the field or is in the field just like them, just like Jeff. That's a respect, right? So it's someone that's authentic, caring, and they motivate you, they educate you, they hold you accountable to the dreams and the goals that you want to get to the next level.
Yeah.
So in the value has to be strong leadership. Any comments on that or thoughts of that with you?
Yeah. So one of the things that people are probably thinking, okay, I get that. That makes sense. How do I become a stronger leader? And so, obviously you do that through self-training. You do that through experience. There's programs that you can take, which of course, we'll talk about one in a minute. You can do that through one-on-one coaching. You can go read a bunch of John Maxwell books. I mean, there are several steps that you can take to become a better leader. And I love that you started off with that one because it sounds so basic, probably to so many people on. But oftentimes it's the one that gets forgotten. It's we need to figure out a new lead source. We need to figure out a new CRM. We got to figure out how to improve our technology. No, before you do any of that, you need to figure out how to become a better leader yourself. Be the person that deserves to attract talent. How do you do that? By becoming a better leader.
Well, 100%. And it's so true because all the other stuff is important. We're going to get to that, but you've got to work on your leadership skills to be a great leader. And it is a big piece in the recruiting that I've done, right? Is why do people leave companies or why did they stay? It's culture. And I've heard way too many times is that the leader never talks to me.
Yep.
And they don't care. I have a sense that they don't care. So obviously I put caring, authentic, inspirational, but the other thing that's critical is that you motivate them, you educate them, and you hold them accountable. Remember, one of the greatest things I've ever learned is holding accountable is part of your value proposition because confrontation is the greatest form of caring.
Yep.
So we have to make sure that we're connecting and the agents.
Can you repeat that last line? What's the greatest form of caring?
Confrontation is the greatest form of caring. Confrontation.
How many leaders, Kathy, and by the way, I was one of them, and to some degree still am. I mean, we're not like, man, who can I confront today? Like, I can't wait. My alarm's going to go off and it's going to say, go confront someone, right? We're not just naturally confrontational people, but people mistake confrontation as, well, if I confront them, then they won't like me. Well, that's the difference between an average leader and a great leader. An average leader isn't interested in getting people to like them. A great leader is interested in getting people to respect them through methods such as confrontation. And because of the respect, the like will follow. It's not the other way around. You don't need to get them to like you first. They got to respect you first. The like will show up later.
If you walk away with one thing today, that's it. And remember, with confrontation, it's not necessarily what you say, it's how you say it. So you obviously confront them, and that's a whole nother seminar, right? On how to do it. But again, it's the greatest form of caring because you're telling them the truth. and helping them grow. And if you don't do that, they feel disconnected. They feel lonely. And again, it's not yelling at someone. It's just asking questions that help them discover where they have to improve. Okay, so strong leadership. And that's something we'll be talking about forever, right? How do I get better? And even leaders today, including myself, I feel blessed to be one. And obviously, Jeff, is we work on it all the time because no one's perfect. Okay, number two. One of the great things that I've seen from Jeff, and actually I've seen from a lot of other teams, is they have a strong vision and mission. So this is a little different, with a value proposition thought. Again, we're going to get to some of the specifics of your value prop, but without a strong vision or mission, they don't know what you're trying to do, where you're going. So may I read yours, Jeff, to the group?
Please.
Yeah. Okay, good. So one of the things I loved about Jeff is, and again, he took a lot of time to do it, but it's pretty straightforward. So the mission, living an unreal life to deliver one. Write that down. It's very simple, but very truthful, right? And his vision is to say that fast 5 times, revolutionize the real estate industry through passion, innovation, and expertise. Now, Jeff, those two, the mission and the vision, how long did it take you to come up with it? Now, you might have had a gut thought about it, but did it take you some time to strategize or think about that? Share with the group.
We brought our associates together, and I recommend everyone do this.
Yeah.
And we talked about, where we're at as a company and where we want to go. And we got their precipitation and participation all in one. They participated in the conversation and talked about what they want the company to look and feel like when they walk through the doors. And what we discovered through those meetings, Kathy, is if we focus on their experience in working with the company, it's going to show up naturally when they're working with buyers and sellers. So living an unreal experience to deliver one, living an unreal experience to deliver, meaning if I'm living an unreal experience on this physical earth, and when I walk into the office, when I'm with my peers, and then that means I'm going to be happier when I go on that buyer showing. I'm going to be happier and more have more clarity about why I'm doing what I'm doing, because the focus is on them first, and it shows up to the buyers and sellers later.
Yeah, that makes complete sense, right? And I'm sure everyone. So even though it's there's not a lot of words, it has a lot of meat. So I'm totally with you. I would totally be going back to my office. I'd be sitting down with the agents and say, where are we going, and get their input. That makes complete sense to me. So obviously they're going to be excited about a strong mission and vision. Okay, where you want to go, and it has to be communicated all the time. Number 3, I wrote down fundamentals of your value proposition. That's what we're talking about. Fundamentals of the value proposition. Strong yet passionate culture with heartfelt core values. Strong yet passionate culture with core values. So you've got to have core values. Watch, value proposition comes from the core values of the leader and of the team, the broker, whatever. So you've got to have a strong value proposition. You have to have a passionate culture with heartfelt core values, okay, of the leader and team. Everyone on the team has to live the values, or the values are worthless. And again, another topic, but we've all seen a negative influence come in the office that do not live by the values of what you believe in, right? And so we can't keep that. Right. So another thing that I love, here's Jeff's values, okay, that he wrote down for Glover Agency. Ready? Client focused, consistent, driven, passionate, integrity, proactive, and groundbreaking. So I don't know if anyone could write that down and put it in the chat so everyone can see it.
I'll recap. So the vision to revolutionize the real estate industry through passion, innovation, and expertise. Our core values are client focused, consistent, driven, passionate, integrity, proactive, and groundbreaking, which, by the way, those were put together by our best associates, by our longest tenured associates, by our leadership team. It's not something that I'm like, I think we probably should talk about being client focused. Yeah, we should probably No, these are things that the team wanted. These are things that the agents wanted to see from the company.
So you take like your core group or you get all the agents together and say, hey, how would you describe the culture here? That's how, so if you don't have this written down, that's what you want to ask. Is that right? Is that what you see? Yeah, cool. Okay, good. Makes sense. All right. So number 4, number 5, fundamentals of your value proposition. Number 4, they're looking for who is going to help me grow my income and help me be more efficient. So agents are looking as part of your value proposition, who's going to help me grow my income, help me be more efficient. Why? So that they can live their unreal life. So that when an agent becomes more efficient and you can help them by teaching them or coaching them to be more efficient, right? They get to travel more, they get to be with their family more. So it's super important that we understand that the value, and Jeff, you know this better than anyone because you teach it all the time, is a piece of your value prop is growing their income. It has to be.
Yeah.
How are you going to help me grow my income?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then the other piece of that is, what are you going to do to help me be more efficient? And there's so much that could go on that one point could be a 3-day seminar. Right? Yeah. How are you going to help me grow my income? And how are you going to help me become more efficient? Okay. And for some people, maybe it's not growing it huge, it's maintaining it. It's making sure they get to, where they're not starving. How's that?
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's like the agent that sits down with you, of course, I would imagine everyone on here does monthly one-on-ones, quarterly one-on-ones, quarterly business plans, annual business plans. Not every single agent in your firm or in your team is looking to just make more money each year. A lot of them are actually looking to make the same and get more time back. And so it's important that every single time you have the microphone and you're talking to your group publicly, you're not only talking about the success stories financially, but you're talking about the success stories in people's personal lives, because financial success stories are only going to resonate with a certain percentage of your agent population. There's too many teams. And by the way, we were one of them. When we launched as a team, my value proposition, Kathy, was come here, I'll make you rich. Come here, I'll teach you how to sell. Well, over time, I recognized that some of our best agents got to a certain level of success and they weren't interested in getting richer. They were interested in spending more time with their family. And so just as much as you reward and give accolades to the top producers, you need to be recognizing those that are living their best lives. Absolutely. Because of you and your organization.
Absolutely. It's not all, someone said it's not all about the money, which I understand it's not, of course, but obviously when they become more efficient and more effective and they're earning the income that they so desire because of your help or the leadership helps, that's how you live that life, that unreal life and the life that you deserve and everyone deserves. So fundamentals, right, of a value proposition, the last one I'll write, and then I'll rattle them off again real quick is, the most fundamental ever in the history of real estate or any organization. This is not going to be a surprise, everyone. Training and coaching, right? So a huge part of anyone's value proposition has to be the training and coaching. So Jeff, you can allude to that 100 times.
When I hear that, listen, agents don't know what they want in a lot of cases, or they don't know what they don't know. But here's what I'll tell you, because even your most experienced agents, the term training isn't sexy. They're not saying I need a company that can help me I need a company that's going to give me a lot of training. Newbies, yes, absolutely. That's like one of their 3 or 5 things they're looking for in a company. I want a company that has great training. But what about the experienced agents? What about the ones that are already producing? They don't find your training sexy. Here's what they want, though. They want structure. Their current brokerage is not offering them structure because their current brokerage thinks that they're all set. Their current company thinks they're doing just fine. Your productive agents actually wish they had a little bit more structure from their brokerage. Now, some are, you're going to have a certain percentage that don't want any structure or training at all. And honestly, you probably don't want that person on your team or in your brokerage. Now, if you're a brokerage where, recruiting is it, and then fine, you're going to find a space for that person and you're going to have a value proposition for that person. But for my team owners and my team leaders and rainmakers that are operating teams, you want the agent that appreciates structure. And so therefore, a big part of your value proposition should revolve around the structure of what your day and what your business will look like by being affiliated with us.
Yep, that makes complete sense. And again, that's our job to offer that to them and find out what the top producers meet their needs of what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So the last fundamental, I'm just going to add, go ahead. Sorry, you had something
No, I was
to
just
say.
gonna say today's agent, you know, and I know we've got a lot of experienced people on.
Yeah.
I think I saw Jason Bond on earlier, which great. You know, they've got over 2,000 agents down in Atlanta. And he had a great quote in the chat somewhere. I can't find it right now. But anyways, leaders, especially of large brokerages, tend to underestimate how much agents actually value structure during turbulent times. And so that absolutely needs to be something you look at. What is your structure protocol? What is the structure that you offer to an agent? Make that something you talk about, even if they don't bring it up. They don't know sometimes that they want it or that they need it, but when you start talking about it, they'll value it.
So give the group, everyone, an example of what you mean by structure, just to clarify for them.
Yeah, so it could mean an accountability call. Like for us, our agents count on a 7:30 a.m. Monday through Friday accountability call. It can be a scheduled meeting. Our agents count on every Monday at 10 a.m. They're going to get all the announcements for the week on a Zoom, a live Zoom. They know we're going to handle objections live on that Zoom. They know there's going to be an update from the marketing team on on a social media idea. They can count on the structure of the Monday 10 a.m. They can count on the structure of a one-on-one with a leader in the company every other week. They can count on the structure of a contest that takes place every month on the first of the month. Things that happen consistently and regularly are what cause that structure to show up.
Okay, that makes complete sense. I love it. And everyone needs to make sure they're paying attention to that structure, especially in a vulnerable shifting market. Because now we're going to get into, what are people looking for in a changing market? And they're vulnerable. They're fearful, they're scared, they're uncomfortable. So structure offers comfort. It offers belief. And even the top producers, in a changing market, it affects them as well. So they need a leader that says, offers a structure. But I want you to write this down, and we're going to jump into 5 others in today's market, shifting market value propositions. So MMFI, make me feel important. That has to be one of the top things you have in your value proposition. Every single person that works for you has to feel important. If they don't, and they're vulnerable because of a shifting market, they're going to go out to some other place and look for someone that makes them feel good. Okay. So don't forget that. And that's a whole nother topic, but it's super important. That needs to be part of your value proposition. Okay. And that's a fundamental.
Well, yeah, because guess what? That is recruiting 101. That is what your competition is doing with your agents right now. They are making them feel important by reaching out and talking to them and meeting with them and having coffees with them. The game. So you got to figure out a way to make them feel important because other people are attempting to do so in an effort to recruit them.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. Okay, so those are like the 5 fundamentals. Strong leadership, have a strong vision and mission, strong culture with core values. They're looking for who's going to help them grow their income and be efficient so they have time with their family. They're looking for this basic structure of training and coaching, and don't forget that word structure. Okay, so let's dive into what benefits or value prop are agents looking for in today's shifting market. Okay, we left a majority of the time for this. Don't forget the fundamentals, though. They'll always be there. Have them, work on them, get those done. So a couple of things that I wrote down for this is value proposition in today's market or shifting market where you're going to attract agents, keep the agents that you have happy. And one thing I looked at in studying Jeff's stuff really deeply in the past couple of weeks is number 1 is invest in the agents. Invest in the agents. And I don't mean like, invest like here's $1,000 to stay here. That's not what I mean. I hope you all put a smile on your face on that. So for example, they want to know, and this is not going to be earth shattering to everybody on this call because it's very common, is I have to invest in the agents. They want to know who's going to give me the best leads. Let's just face it. When the agents of piece of your value proposition, especially for teams, even though we're getting into the brokers starting to do this and becoming more dominant, is the world has shifted for agents. So a part of your value proposition has to be who's going to give me the best leads. That's number one. And what I mean, I put invest in their real estate agents. One of them is giving them leads. The other thing, not only is it who's going to give me the best leads, but who's going to teach me how to convert them. Because a lead is worthless without being able to communicate or have the skills to convert the lead. Anything to add to that, Jeff?
Yeah, a couple things. So if right now, as part of your value proposition, you have provided leads and it's been, top 5, let's just say, or one of your top 5 value propositions, you also may want to consider what it looks like to provide appointments, because we're starting to see appointments are becoming more valuable than actual leads. All these people that are soliciting our real estate agents say, hey, for $99, I can sign you up for this and there's no obligation. They're all starting to sell them appointments. Agents are more interested in appointments than leads themselves. So if you're already providing leads, take it to the next level. What would it look like to actually provide appointments? Number one. And number two, if part of your value proposition is not to provide leads, because Kathy, as you know, it's not our number 1, 2, 3, or 4. It's actually number 5 of our value proposition. And so therefore, I would argue that it's not high up on the list, but what is high up on the list? What you just said. If you're not going to provide, even if you are providing leads, you better get really good at teaching them how to convert them. Make that part of your value proposition. Anyone can say, yeah, come join our team, come join our company. We got leads, we got appointments, but not everyone can say, and oh, by the way, we're going to teach you not only how to convert ours, but we're going to teach you how to prospect and convert your own. That is absolutely a big part of our value proposition and what agents are looking for right now.
There's no doubt about it, because again, I wrote down below that this is where I've seen in my experience through coaching and leading is the biggest challenge that brokers or team leaders had is they don't spend enough time helping them convert the leads. They drop the ball on this. So a huge piece of the value proposition is someone in the organization has to be teaching them how to convert, because the conversion rate is usually not so good across the country. So you got to be able to, if you're not good at teaching conversion to your agents, and you got to find out someone that is good or allow someone to help you do that, because that skill is the single most important thing. And by the way, these ideas about value proposition in today's market are not in priority order, right? They're just ideas I put down. But you got to invest in your agent, not just for the leads, but for their skills. You know how I am about that. I'm a big believer in that. What comes out of the mouth of an agent is either they're verbally vomiting on someone or they're skilled and they know how to convert. So that is obviously something that's super important in today's market. Okay.
And for our attendees that are on today that are thinking, well, I've never really been taught sales skills. I've never really had to convert leads at a high level. What do I do? Well, either there's one of two things you can do. Number one, you can sign up for something, whether it's with us or somebody else, to teach you how to do that. So that way you can turn around and teach it. Or you can just put your agents through some type of program, whether it's with us or somebody else. No matter what, it's got to be part of your value proposition, because that is something that not everyone is offering.
Absolutely. And it is, I've seen so many people succeed with it. So, okay, let's move on, because I could go on forever. All right. So the other thing that I've observed, and that Jeff, you've done a deep dive on lately, is the support staff. So one thing that I know is part of your value proposition that you continue to improve is that you take the support staff. You got to have a strong support staff that allows the agents to stay in income producing activities. Mm-hmm. And so the staff actually is there for the agents, and they make them feel like $1 million when you walk in the door in your company. And again, it's just because my most recent experience, or any of the companies I'm fortunate to coach, most of them, they walk in, or the teams, and they feel great, which is huge. But that's a piece of it. but it's taking off the it's keeping the agent in the income producing and allowing the support staff to service the agent
Yep.
as the customer.
Yep.
Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, we've said it a few times now. What can you take off the agent's plate? Don't think that they're just looking to have a higher split or net more money. They're also looking for a company, and they're leaving brokerages or teams right now to go join a team or brokerage right now that will do more for them and take more off their plate. Absolutely. That is, when I look at agent attraction, that's got to be one of your 3 changes or improvements right now. What else can we do, change, or add, or who do I have to add to take more off of our agents' plates? Because that is what the industry wants right now.
I couldn't agree with you more. So you have to take a hard look at that and understand that in today's market, obviously, the no-brainer is that if you can help them spend more time in income producing activities, right? Social media,
Yep.
Marketing, past client center of influence, the old-fashioned expireds, then it's better for them and their families, and better for you as the team leader or the owner, right? So number 3, I wrote down, in today's market in particular, is, and you have to pay more attention to it because it's changing all the time. I wrote down next level marketing, right? So you have to understand that there needs to be guidance with your company on a social media plan for the agent, a database plan. How am I reaching out to my past clients and center of influence, or anybody else in my database? What am I doing consistently? Who's going to help me? I need help. I don't know. I mean, the simple past client or sphere of influence conversation is something that people get lost in.
There's 2 things that are coming to mind right now, and this one is spot on. So the point was next level marketing that you're offering. Well, what does next level mean? The 2 things that are coming to mind right now are, because of social media, agents are infatuated with this idea of building a brand. I mean, it is like they're seeing all their friends, they're seeing, all their peers focus on building a brand.
Yeah.
And so what in your value proposition addresses that? Is that something, when you're sitting down in front of a recruit, can you say, well, here's one of the top 5 things that we focus on in helping agents. We teach them how to sell. We provide structure. We teach them how to build a brand, so they're the most known agent in their community. You will nail a value proposition. You will attract more agents if you can show them, of course, how you're going to help them build a brand, and then give them examples of other people in your organization that you've helped build a brand. That's the first thing that comes to mind under this point. The second thing that comes to mind under this point is not just building a brand on social media, but helping them build a brand with their database. How can you help them become more known and more top of mind with their database, so that way they're not having to figure that out on their own? Absolutely a reason for them to join you, and absolutely those are both ways to make your value proposition more attractive today.
Without a doubt. And again, I always find it interesting that the consistency with reaching out to past client center of influence and putting that system in place seems to be the hardest for any agent at any time, and in particular now, they don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with it.
So take it off their plate. Take it off their plate. Make it easy.
Right. And so the system, again, it goes back to leaders and structure and systems, is if we, as part of our value proposition, are offering good systems that help them grow and become better, that's what they're looking for. Right. So next level marketing is I think critical. Again, the social media aspect is huge.
Yeah.
You guys are fantastic. I mean, I've learned so much in the last 2 weeks about the benefits of social media. So that's huge. And number 4, value proposition in today's market, for a shifting market. And again, it's what we're trying to do is attract agents to come to us. And we know when the market shifts, they're out looking.
Yep.
Agents are out looking.
And they're blaming you. It couldn't possibly be their fault. It's your fault.
Right.
My brokerage's fault. It's the team's fault. It's the environment. It's the color paint on the wall. It's the flavor of the mints at the front desk. All of these are the reasons why I'm not succeeding today. I got to go look for better flavored mints elsewhere.
It's a great way to say it. And that's what they're out there right now. They're looking for people like you. They're trying to find you. So go out and find them. It's much easier. Okay. Because they're going to start, they're looking. We know they are, especially now. This market's hot for that. So the other thing, number 4, was the concierge services that you offer. So again, I looked at that and I haven't heard that in a long time, frankly, even though I've heard the word.
Yeah.
But here's what I observed. If what people are looking in a shifting market is who's going to make my life easier. Yeah.
I was looking. It just so happened to be, I've got our value proposition book in front of me here, and it just happened to be turned to that page, but go on.
No, it's okay. It's your baby, but the concierge services, again, removing stuff, making their life easier. So all this stuff that we're talking about, everything, how to do it, what to do, what should it be, what are my benefits? The bottom line is what makes their life easier and what makes them feel better. What makes your life easier? I'm going to increase my income. I'm going to feel better while I'm doing it. And you're going to make my life easier and I have more time with my family. So the concierge services I thought were great. And yours, I wrote down the document coordinator, someone who schedules all your showings. And the one that I looked at, I actually put a big smile on my face, and you actually have someone that will help them get their car washed.
Yes, they can bring their dry cleaning in. We'll take care of it. They get invoiced for it, but we're taking as much off their plate as we can so they can spend their time doing what they do best. That is the modern value proposition today.
Yeah, exactly. So I like the concierge services. That might be something you guys all want to think about, spend time with. And then the last thing I wrote down is for the 5 things you're looking for in a shifting market or agent attraction now has to be technology.
Yeah. And let me just add one. That's 5A. I'm going to add a 5B. Someone to show them how to use it, or better yet, do it for them.
Right.
Everyone's screaming from the rooftops about their technology today, but not everyone is saying, oh, but we have A, B, and C in place to help you implement it. Who's going to help them implement it?
Right, exactly. Which is the whole key, because we know that you can have technology all over the place and that you offer to all the agents, but if they don't know how to use it or someone isn't doing it for them, then they get lost, they get confused. The older agents like myself feel like, oh no, I don't know what to do. I don't understand. What do I do? Oh my God, I'm going to be written out of this business. My business is going to go crazy. I'm not going to have any business because of technology.
Yeah.
And no, technology is the tool. It's something that helps them, but unless we show them how to use it and really show the value of it, they get lost or have someone else do it for them.
Yeah. So can you recap those 5 really quick? Because I'm going to add a 6th. I like to just kind of throw things out there as we go. So go ahead and recap those 5.
I love it. I love it. So invest in agents. What I mean is, what leads are you offering them? But not only the leads that you're offering them, you got to be looking at all the ones that work now, right? And those that are getting better and how to convert them. Yeah. Number 2, support staff that takes all the income servicing activities away from the agent and makes them feel like $1 million at the same time. Mm-hmm. The agents have to feel good to stay. You got to get that. Number 3, next level marketing. We talked about that. A concierge of services, just little extra things that make them feel special. And then of course the technology, the CRM, the tracking number software. And again, not only having it, but how to use it.
Yep. Okay, good. I love that. So number 6, once you have your value proposition buttoned up, once you know exactly what you offer, what you're going to use to attract agents, what you're going to use to retain agents, number 6 is put together a well thought out, well documented, pretty presentation. Put together a well thought out, well documented, pretty presentation in physical and digital form. Once you have your value proposition well thought out, put together, documented, put it into a pretty presentation, something that you could hand somebody a book and say, here, you're thinking of joining our company, here you go. And oh, by the way, I can also take each one of these pages, by the way, I'm just, using our value prop book as a, for instance, which I know some of you are going to end up joining the team building course. By the way, we share our entire value proposition from start to finish in that course. But regardless, I could take any one of these pages, okay? Professional development. What does professional development look like in our world? I can now take this and turn this into social media advertising. I can now create an ad around this. Oh, what about our technology? I can now create an ad specifically around our technology and how we help people with their technology. Oh, company generated leads. I can take this and turn this into a social media ad to get the word out about what we do to help agents generate the leads. The agent concierge that we talked about. You have to have a physical, pretty presentation that you can hand anyone who asks, what is it like to work at your firm? And it must be digital. And you could literally take every single page from your value proposition and now turn that into a social media campaign. So what good is a great value proposition if nobody knows about it?
Right.
Be the loudest in your market about your value proposition. Actually give it away. Tell people what it is. Stop trying to get them to come to your webinars to learn about them and all this. Just start promoting what it is. Well, Jeff, what if my competitors copy me? That's fine. They're always going to be behind you. That's fine. You can be the first to market with it. Get the word out about what your value proposition is before. Don't be a secret brokerage, right? Don't be one of those, hey, come meet with me and I'll tell you what it is. Get the word out about it so everyone knows what it is. Be loud from the rooftop about it. Okay, I'll shut up. Okay.
No, because you're exactly right, because they got it, see it and feel it.
Okay, Kathy. So here's the deal. I know we've had a lot of people after we did the announcements of you joining Glover U, we had a lot of people reach out to us and ask to be put into your schedule. Well, what a lot of people didn't realize is that you charge $1,500, that you demand a premium to be in your schedule. Number one. Number two, I believe you have like 0 spots left, maybe 1 to coach with you one-on-one. So we got together and said, well, wait a minute. We've got this program called Team Building, Salesperson to CEO. What if we rewrite it and present it together? So that way people have a chance to actually work with you live and work with myself live for 16 weeks straight. And so we did that. And so for those that have the workbook printed, it's on page 18 in your workbook. I want to share with you how you have an opportunity to learn from the very person that taught me everything that I needed to know about real estate brokerage leadership. And this is a 16-week course. It's 45-minute live Zoom once per week. You're going to be on with both Kathy and I. Now, I will tell you, the first time we run this, it's going to be the both of us, but that'll be the only time. So if you're thinking, I'll sign up for it later, you're going to get Kathy, which is great, but you're not going to get both of us. All right. So that is one of the advantages for our first timers, because what happens is Kathy and I went through the previous program, because we know, Kathy, there's a lot of people who have taken this program and are seeing a ton of success with their teams or with their brokerages and because they went through it. We are already rewriting all of the 16 sessions for today's industry. And it's the same industry that I talked about in the beginning. It's not just the market shift. I don't care about the market shift. The industry has shifted. What the agents expect and want out of team leaders and brokerage today has changed. And so we're spending 16 weeks together, one-on-one, live. If anyone on here is interested, text the word or the letters, I guess, CEO to 55444. It's right on your screen. Text CEO to 55444. There's what's included. And Kathy, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to steal your thunder. You probably had something to say.
No, it's okay. You're doing a great job. Yeah. So I think a big piece of the salesperson to CEO is learning how to, there's a lot of systems that that are involved. I mean, leadership is a big important thing to it. Being a great leader is something we're going to talk about. And like Jeff said, we're going to go through the entire value proposition, how to do it, what needs to be do it, work with you to get it done. The other thing that I've seen is that a lot of people don't have their systems in place, right? So you're operating a great team. And again, people are attracted to you because of who you are, right? Yeah. But they don't have their systems in place, like their onboarding systems. What do I train them now? How do I get, is there a 90-day plan that I use? So we're going to really dive deep into how to build and run a successful team or brokerage. And that's what the whole thing is about.
Well, and the thing is, and it's a little bit to some degree hitting the easy button, because they get to learn from all of our mistakes, right? We're going to share every single piece of our value proposition. How do we have 40 agents closing 982 transactions in one market? 40 agents closing 982 transactions in one market. Now, that's of course the team side, but of course, Kathy, a lot of people don't know this. You had 16 offices here in Metro Detroit, the largest and most successful coal banker in the Midwest. So we're talking small scale team value proposition stuff, all the way up to large scale brokerage. So it's not just for, an agent wanting to go from salesperson to CEO. There might already be someone who is a CEO looking to get to the next level using our methods, and everyone will gain from being in relationship with you and I would like to think so. So if you're interested, there it is in the chat. Text CEO to 55444. You'll get all the details on the program. It's starting in mid-February. You're going to be live with Kathy and I, and it's not just like a presentation. It's a 45-minute of instruction and 10 minutes. So it's actually 55 minutes, 10 minutes of Q&A. So you get to go through the whole 45-minute session, and at the end, throw your questions in the chat or unmute yourself and ask a question and have real live dialogue with us on every portion from, recruiting leads. Where do we get them? What are your recruiting systems? When you get an agent in front of you, what do you say? What do you present to them? As Kathy said, how do you get them onboarded quickly and actually up and running quickly? Everything from start to finish. If you're wanting to be in leadership, or if you have a brokerage or are thinking of starting a brokerage, this is the program specifically for that group. It's a proven program. We've been using it for years now, but now it's being rewritten for two reasons. Number one, because we have the great Kathy Schweitzer who's leading it. And number two, the industry has changed, and we're not going to be teaching techniques of 2 years ago because those days are gone. Anything else you want to add, Kathy?
No, I just want to say how excited I am to do that class with you. And it's going to be a lot of meat. We're going to roll up our sleeves and we're going to make some changes. So thank you for the opportunity of doing it. And thanks everyone today for the opportunity of being with you today, and make it amazing.
Awesome. Well, and listen, Kathy, I think a lot of people, whether they catch this later in the recording or listening through the podcast, they're not necessarily, totally sold on us yet. And so I'm not going to commit to $1,500 with Kathy Schweitzer for 12 months, $1,500 per month. So we've packaged up in a way where it's $399 a month for 4 months. I mean, $1,600. Heck, you recruit one agent in that time, and that has paid 10 times that amount to you. So this is a good kind of entry way for someone to get in and work with you who maybe isn't quite sold on us yet, or maybe isn't in the financial position because it's January. And Jeff, you know how much money my brokerage lost last month? That's a real thing that happens this time of year. I guess it's February.
We understand. We've been there. We totally understand. And that's another thing that's totally cool is we're in the field. We've been in the field. We have been doing it 35 years. So I think it'd just be, recruiting is a whole nother thing that we have to spend time on. And because we did it, we've been in the field with it. It's something that has to be done. So we're going to have a good time.
A lot of people don't realize this because you actually have an office in our office. You're meeting with all of our team leaders. So it's not like, hey, I'm Kathy Schweitzer. Yep, I'm the one that hired Jeff. Yep, I taught Jeff everything he knows. No, it's not like that. It's that plus, and now I'm learning new things because I'm learning how his team is operating, and I'm seeing how his brokerages run. You're in the field with us. And I think there's a huge value to anyone that gets a chance to work with you because of that. The last thing I'll say, if we don't see you in team building, salesperson to CEO, go check out Lead Up. That would absolutely, especially for my Florida friends, you don't even have to fly. gloveru.com/lead up. That is the only event in 2023 we're doing just for leaders. So if you're a broker, owner, team leader, leading a team, there's qualifications to get in. You'll see it on the website. We don't just let anyone in, and we do that for you. We do that for our high performers and our high achievers. gloveru.com/lead up. Go check that out. If we're not going to see you in team building, we better see you there. It's Fort Lauderdale, May 1st through the 3rd. Thank you everyone for joining us. We'll be back next week with another round of great winter webinars, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, same place, same time. Go to gloveru.com/webinar to check those out. Make it a great rest of the week. We'll see you guys later.